An athlete never enters a competition without proper preparation. Through practice discipline, he is confident in his abilities to excel in his sport. Victory. Today is the day we have been preparing for. We have been disciplined in our preparation to follow through to give God our best seed. And we have been disciplined in praying. As we follow tested biblical pattern, setting aside time to worship God with a service dedicated to sacrificial giving, we will create a legacy for future generations to model. To our special guests, prepare to see a demonstration of commitment that will testify for years to come of what the people of God can do when we choose to work together. In all three of our church services, we will, in unity, display that we believe in the vision of this house. So we hope that you will rejoice with us as we honor God in this most exciting day. Our church has, in a short time, begun to model for the other churches to follow, because the faithfulness of the people who support the ministry's massive vision and dynamic leadership. Today, we have gathered in the house of God after weeks of preparation and time spent in prayer. We are here to participate in a time of over and above giving.
We decided to both individually pray. So she prayed and I prayed. And then we came together with a number. And it turns out that we both had the same number in mind. So that's how we determined what seed we were going to give for Impact Giving Sunday. And it turned out to be one of the biggest seeds we've ever sown.
It was crazy. It seemed like everything that could have happened that day. The day before is when the trouble started. We were taking leadership classes for small groups, and it was raining really hard, and we got halfway there, and we just had to turn back around because the car was like jerking and acted up. So we came home, and we were like, okay, we'll just wait. And then we're like, oh my God, what about Impact Giving Sunday tomorrow? So just to make sure that we got here that day to give our money, we called my mother up and said, you have to give us a ride. Even though we had to get up at the crack of dawn, we didn't care because we were like, we are definitely giving our seed. It was crazy. It's like something you see on TV and you never think that would happen to you. We had just received our income tax, and we said we're going to pay some of our bills off, and we have what you call an 80-20, and that's when you need 100% financing, but one company won't cover you 100% for your home, so they split it up, and so we had 80%.
Another company had 20,
and our 20 was fixed, and that we only had about $20,000 left on that one, and then the 80 was the adjustable, and we found favor with that, and then we were just trying to believe, like Mike was saying, that it was going to be totally paid off, and so he made a phone call to the company, and you tell him what happened.
So I called the mortgage company because we were a little behind on our other half of the mortgage. So I called them up and said, hey, I finally have the amount to make my account current.
Which is $700.
$700 to make our account current. So the person I was speaking to said, well, sir, give me your social security number and all that. So we went through all that whole thing. And I gave it to them, and they kept on looking it up and said, this account is closed. I'm like, what do you mean it's closed? So she's like, well, let me transfer you to another department that can look further than I can. So the other department comes on the phone. I give my social security number and the whole nine, and they look it up and they say, well, this has been transferred to a different banking institution. So I'm like, okay, well, do you have a number to that institution so I can give them a call? So they gave me the number, and I called them up, and they tell me that the account is closed as well. So I'm a little puzzled, because normally when you have a mortgage, it stays open until you pay it off. So they said it's closed. We don't have any record of, we have a record, but we showed that the account is paid in full. It's closed. So I'm like, okay.
So he calls me. He calls me and he said, babe, are you sitting down? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And he was like, I called and the debt is paid off. So I'm like, oh, the $700. I'm like, praise God. So he's like, no, the $20,000 is paid off. And I'm like, do you mean the $700 that you owed? And he's like, no, I'm talking about the whole mortgage. The 20% part is done. And I'm like, oh my God, God, you got. I'm like jumping up and down. I went outside on the porch and jumping up and down. I'm doing circles. The handyman is like, what is going on? I'm like, it's good. 20%. It's paid off. It's paid off. We're done. We're done. 20%. So I called up everybody. I just was like, praise God. And till this day, we haven't gotten a bill, anything.
And
as far
all
as
that
anything.
happened about a month after we sold
Right.
our Impact Giving Sunday. We were determined to get to church so we can sow our seed, and that seed turned around, and God did His part. We did our part, so God did His part. So, given our sacrificial seed turned around, God ended up being more than enough for the situation. God, really came through that day, and we can't even wait till this year to give our seed. We just can't wait to give our sacrificial seed.
Sacrificial obedience always gets God's attention. So as we dedicate the rest of this service to worshiping God with our giving, we express our love to Him as the source and sustainer of our lives. As a result, we can stand in faith for God's favor and sevenfold blessings of the first fruit offering principle. Victory. It's time to give. This is our time to take new territory.